feels like the most difficult job I have. I have to say the following, the borough president, maybe right up there with that, but I will try to keep your attention after that. I want to start today by sharing with you a newspaper report that I recently read. The reference to a topic with which I think we are all too familiar, economic. According to the report, the money market, stocks, and real estate are in a most extraordinary condition. No prospect of change appears on the edge of the horizon. We are at sea without rudder or compass. The sun rises and sets, but who can tell where we are? Indeed, this is a question that many of us are likely asking ourselves these days, just as they did when this report first appeared in the New York Herald in 1836. And I think that this should all give us all some comfort as we navigate what surely are extremely difficult fiscal and economic waters ahead. The fact is that, as the borough president said, New York has been here before, and each time the city has seemingly faced insurmountable odds, it not only overcame them, but emerged on the other side a more prosperous city. And in fact, we don't have to look back to the 19th century to remind us of this. Simply look back to 2002, when Mayor Bloomberg first entered office. As he took the oath of office on the steps of City Hall, the embers of the World Trade Center were literally still burning. Questions then mounted as to whether New York would recover and whether businesses and residents would leave. In fact, as we all know, the opposite happened. We went through one of the greatest booms the city has ever known. The city achieved its highest bond rating in 8 years. Last year, we welcomed a record 47 million tourists to the city, making us the #1 tourist destination in the United States for the second year running. We rezoned fully 1/6 of the land area of New York, 6,000 city blocks, and we've literally changed the physical face of our city. In Hudson Yards, for example, a district just west of Midtown, we laid the groundwork for the city's next great central business district, rezoning the area for 40 million square feet of commercial, residential, hotel, and retail space. Using a creative financing mechanism, the city raised $2 billion to extend the number 7 train from current terminus in Times Square to 11th Avenue and 34th Street. This is the first major expansion of the subway in a generation, and work on that project is underway and expected to be completed within just a few short years. In Queens and the Bronx, with an investment of about $400 million, the city induced the Mets and the Yankees to invest over $2 billion in private funds to create thousands of construction jobs, thousands of permanent jobs, new infrastructure, and to take off of the hands of the city maintenance obligations that were costing the city tens of millions of dollars a year, and to create, in addition to that, over $130 million in net fiscal benefit for the city. Today, these new stadium projects are open for business, welcoming fans who cheer on their favorite teams, and more importantly, keeping real New Yorkers employed and generating real tax revenues for the city state. Notwithstanding our having been here before, though, or the glimmer of hope that we've begun to see in the stock market, the fact is that we once again find ourselves in challenging times. I think that a few statistics are illustrative of these challenges. For example, unemployment in New York City rose from 4.9% in April 2008 to 8% in April 2009. Meanwhile, the latest projections from the city's budget office are that wages in New York City are expected to decline by $39 billion from $293 billion in 2008 to $284 billion in 2010. In addition, we all know that this downturn had a disproportionate effect on Wall Street, which, as we know, is a very important industry to the fiscal well-being of the city. By way of illustration, so at the peak of the boom in 2007, Wall Street accounted for only about 9% of private sector employment in New York. It actually accounted for 34% of private sector payroll at the same time. And when you have a year like 2008, when the worst stock market decline since 1931 has occurred, and over $1 trillion in financial services layoffs have been experienced, it can't help but impact our city. And so the latest projections from the city's budget office are that between fiscal year 2008 and fiscal year 2010, city revenues are likely to drop by $5 billion. When faced with statistics like these, a natural question to pose is, what do we do? After our experience following September 11th, we know the right approach, and that approach is to develop a plan and put all of the resources of government to see that plan to fruition. And that is exactly what Mayor Bloomberg has recently done, unveiling his newly minted 5-borough economic opportunity plan, which is designed to usher the city through the downturn as quickly as possible and to resume our trajectory of growth. This plan is a 3-part strategy that will see us through to prosperity by creating jobs for New Yorkers today, investing in jobs for tomorrow by diversifying our economy, and building affordable and attractive neighborhoods. Let me take a few moments to go through each of these. The first aim of the mayor's plan is to create jobs for New Yorkers today. One way that we're striving to do this is by making city government more business-friendly. For instance, we have proposed targeted cuts to the city's unincorporated business tax, a form of double taxation that's virtually unique to New York City. Our proposal could lower or eliminate this tax for some 17,000 small businesses across 5 boroughs. Though doing so requires approval in Albany, and as many of you know, that's never a guarantee. This remains something we feel very strongly about, and we are working extremely hard to implement this. We're also employing city resources creatively in order to spur private development. We recently launched a program, for example, that we call Capital Access, where we've used about $5 million in city funds to guarantee nearly $14 million in loans from banks and other institutions to small and micro businesses. One example of a company that's benefited from this program is a sweater company in Bushwick called Q Sweater Incorporated. Due to the economic downturn, the company's owner, Luis Rivera, was finding it difficult to make his rent payments and meet other expenses. But thanks to his loan of $15,000 for Capital Access, he's now optimistic that his business will in fact survive. In fact, since the Capital Access program started, our private sector partners have provided 29 loans like these, totaling nearly $1 million, that have gone to businesses throughout the 5 boroughs. At least 10 of those businesses are located right here in Portland, where the loans range from as little as $1,500 for a soil processing facility in Bushwick to as much as $150,000 for a refueling company located in Greenfield. Another way we're working to create jobs today is by investing in infrastructure projects. Now, there's a general consensus that at all levels of government, this kind of investment makes sense in a downturn because it's a quick way to get people back to work. But in addition to that, the Bloomberg administration understands that this kind of investment is also crucial because it ensures that when the economy recovers, we all know it will, that New York City will be well positioned to capture future growth and economic activity. To that end, the city's capital budget this fiscal year alone stands at a record $10 billion, which is a 5% increase over the previous year. Of course, even the city's capital budget is not immune to the downturn. And this is why we've been asked by mayors to cut capital spending in fiscal years 2010 to 2019 by approximately 30%. No doubt a significant sum. But even with these cuts, it's important to keep in perspective that between fiscal year 2009 and fiscal year 2013, 5 years, we will be spending 40% more than the 7 years prior to Mayor Bloomberg's first term in office. In short, we still plan to spend at near record levels. And in addition to that, we're also backfilling some of these cuts from the federal stimulus that we're receiving. The mayor's office has estimated that the city will receive approximately $4 billion in expense funding from federal fiscal stimulus and $1 billion in capital funding over the next several years. Thus far, the city has been allocated $261 million in capital for shovel-ready projects, which will go toward 25 projects already designated, totaling $1 billion, and creating or preserving 32,000 jobs. And all of this is on top of hundreds of millions of dollars in active financing that the federal government is making available to us, issued through the stimulus program. It's our expectation that we'll be able to deploy these funds for a variety of different developments in a variety of different industries across the city of New York. And this leads me to the second part of the mayor's recovery plan, which involves diversifying our economy to create jobs for tomorrow. We are, of course, working hard to maintain New York City's position as the world's financial services capital. And to this end, we released a couple of months ago an 11-point plan that's designed to do just that. But we'll also understand that we have to develop counter-cyclical industries here in New York so that the next time Wall Street suffers a decline, the city's fiscal condition will be better insulated. For example, we're looking at bioscience, in which New York City does very well on 2 ends of the spectrum. On one hand, we are a great headquarters city. Pfizer, Bristol-Myers Squibb, Forest Laboratories, and other companies all calling New York City their home. And on the other hand, we do very well with basic science. New York City is the #2 recipient of NIH funding among cities in the United States. And every year, our 9 academic research institutions turn out somewhere between 20 and 30 new businesses. But what's happened over the last several years is that almost every one of these new businesses has ended up going somewhere else. We undertook a rigorous examination of why this occurred, and what we found was that the fundamental issue that the city faced was its paucity of commercial lab space, where businesses could turn basic ideas into viable businesses. And in response to that, we have made substantial investments on a number of fronts. One example is right here in Brooklyn, Sunset Park. We're working on a project that we call Biovac. This project, which is being developed in conjunction with SUNY Allen State Medical Center and the state of New York, aims to create 500,000 square feet of commercial lab space at the Brooklyn Army Terminal. We're happy to report that we've already welcomed our first tenant to this facility, IAVI, which is now occupying about 40,000 square feet of lab space. IAVI is one of the world's leading institutions seeking a vaccine against the AIDS virus and is bringing great science today to the Brooklyn waterfront. In addition, if you drive down the FDR Drive in Manhattan, you can see rising just north of Bellevue what will eventually become a 1.1 million square foot facility called East River Science Park. The city put about $20 million into this project, and it thereby has induced a private sector developer, Alexandria Real Estate, to put in what will eventually amount to $700 million in private funds. The first phase of this project, a 300,000 square foot lab building, topped out last year, and we expect it to be open for business in 2010. Another industry that we're seeking to expand is manufacturing distribution, much of which occurs along our city's waterfront. For instance, Atlantic Basin, Redbook, again here in Brooklyn, we just signed a 20-year lease with Phoenix Beverages, which is investing nearly $4 million in capital to create a distribution facility here. This project will allow the company to transport their goods via water directly in Brooklyn, eliminating 20,000 truck trips per year. Phoenix has also agreed as part of the move to convert the entirety of the vehicle fleet to cleaner